Hey guys, in this video we're going to go through an over-the-board chess game played at a local park between Piyush playing the white pieces and Soren playing the black pieces. Both players are rated around 1900. Piyush is 1900 USCF, Soren is over 1900 Lee chess, really strong Blitz players. So enjoy the video. There's going to be some music in the background. I'll put a link to the musician in the description below. Hope you enjoy it. So we see a 2 knights defense by Soren. And Piyush is going for a Catalan type setup, which is now transposed into what I would call a bogo-Indian defense. So we can see what Soren's doing here is he's putting his pawns on dark squares, d6 and pawn to e5. This makes a lot of sense. And Piyush pushes past. Knight to e7, so we can see Soren's relocating his pieces over to the king side. And now Piyush is going for a bit of a queenside attack with b4. And Soren plays a strong move here, a5, to counter it. Now I think the best move for Piyush is probably to play a3 here. Defend that pawn on b4, but he takes. Rook takes back. Yeah, so here we have a pretty even position. White's still looking to play on the queen side, black is looking to play on the king side. Nothing too crazy. Knight to g4, very nice move by Soren. Looks like he wants to play f5. And it's provoking this h3 move by Piyush. And here we see f5. So very double-edged game, dynamic game, and this has been high-level play so far by both players. h4, this is probably the first mistake by Piyush. So here f4 is a critical move to hit these kingside pawns, and Soren goes for it, f4. Very nice move. So we can see white has to be careful with these pawns in the open square on h2. Black might be able to start an attack over here on the king side. Some good moves here are knight g4, knight f5, bishop f5. And there we see bishop to f5 by Soren. He's playing very high level game here. And now Piyush takes a bit of a think, but he finds a strong reply, bishop to e4. That's the best move. And Soren has a couple options, either defend the bishop with a move like knight to e7, make a queen move, or trade. It's kind of playing around with the camera angles a bit, but it should zoom out in a second here. Alright, so we see this trade, and then Soren plays queen to f6. Lining the queen and rook up down the f-file, pointing at this pawn on f2. So even though this position is about equal according to the engine, it looks scary for white. Rook to f1 here is the strongest move. And Piyush finds it. Knight to f5. So what Soren's trying to do here is target these two pawns, g3 and h4, with both the knights as well as the pawn on f4. And then we can see the clocks now in clear focus. Little under 3 minutes for Piyush. Soren's got 3 minutes 23 seconds. King h2. Now I really like this next move coming up by Soren. It's very creative and has a direct threat. So we can see here he's kind of looking all over, trying to find a good plan. Taking on g3 right away doesn't lead to a lot because it opens up the f1 rook, which lines up with Soren's queen. So he's trying to think, how can he increase the pressure on Piyush? Now we see the time advantage for white. Piyush is up over 10 seconds now. And look at this move by Soren, b5. The strongest reply is taking en passant. C takes b6, but the idea of b5, I didn't understand it at first, but Soren wants rook to a4, cutting the rook all the way across the board and creating an attack over on the king side with the queen side rook. Very creative idea. Piyush plays knight to e6. So a good move here already would be to, actually probably with the g knight, knight g takes h4. Even though this rook on f8 is being attacked, black could very quickly open up the white king here with knight takes h4. Here we see rook to a4, also a very strong move. Hitting the queen and bringing that a rook into the attack. And it's really not easy here to play the white pieces, trying to figure out 2 minutes on the clock, where do you put the queen? How do you keep this king side from falling apart? Queen to f3 by Piyush. So e4 would be a pretty good move here, followed by f3. Also, there's a potential for the sacrifice already. Knight takes h4. There we see it. Knight g takes h4. Now, interestingly enough here, according to Stockfish, white does have an advantage. So let's see what Piyush does. 1:45 on the clock. Critical move is g takes h4, taking the knight back. And he does it. Knight takes h4. Now queen to h3 is the top move. And there it is. This is high-level play by both players, with only a minute and a half on the clock. Now the top move is pawn to f3, which connects the rook on a4 across to the h-file. And there it is by Soren. Now there's only one move here that keeps the advantage for white. Pawn to e4. It looks strange because the rook can take e4, but it slows black down enough that knight to d2 can be played. Piyush goes e3, and all of a sudden the eval completely flips from white being +3 to now black being up 5 points. And Soren finds the critical move, knight to f5. That's the strongest move. And now the threat is rook cutting all the way across to h4. We can see both players have about a minute left on the clock. And for those of you that haven't played over-the-board chess, one cool thing about over-the-board chess is like you really get that pressure feeling. You see the clock, you hear the clock ticking when the opponent presses the button. And I think Piyush here is definitely feeling the nerves, because how do you stop rook to h4? There's really not a great move. He's down to 36 seconds. You could try knight b to d4, just sacrificing a knight, but really it doesn't do a lot. Okay, so now king to g1 is played, and here the sound cuts out, but what's going to happen is Piyush is going to run out of time right at the same time that Soren's essentially delivering the final blow. Rook to h4. This is a mate in 9 according to Stockfish. There's really no way out of this for white. And the queen is also trapped, so there's no queen moves available. Piyush plays queen to g3, notices the flag falls, and to show the final mate, there is knight takes g3, f takes g3, f2 check, and if king to g2, queen to f3 is played, and if rook takes f2, queen takes f2. So it's going to be mate on the next move. Alright, so this was Over the Board Chess at the Park. Let me know if you guys like this content, and please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and hopefully we'll give you more over the board content going forward if that's something you're interested in. I know a lot of people have just been playing online, haven't played their first over the board tournament. I actually met someone this same day named Toby who had only played on chess.com, and he was 1700 on chess.com, and we played a couple of games. Really good player, and it was a lot of fun. He had never played an over the board event before. Alright, thanks for watching guys, and we'll see you in the next video.